it's just a feeling, it's like a rainbow. Try to touch it and it's gone. There are storm clouds on the horizon. Now I know where I belong. 'Cause when I saw her, Vancouver Island, I had tears in my eyes. There ain't nothing like the ocean rolling up to meet the sky. When I saw
On Vancouver Island, if you come across an abandoned black bear cub or an injured bird, especially an eagle or a hawk, chances are it'll end up here at the North Island Wildlife Recovery Center.
We've been around since 1984. We formed a society up in Buckley Bay, actually, near the Comox Valley, and we were there for a number of years, a few years, and we wanted to service the West Coast, but we didn't want to move over to the West Coast, so we came up into the Arrington-Parksville area, and that allowed us better access to the animals over there, and so that was about 1986.
This is Sandor. He's a 7-year-old male glove-trained bald eagle. So he's been at the center since 2006. So he came in when he was only about 8 or 9 months old, and he had a badly broken wing and a bunch of other problems after being found on the side of a highway leading up to Port Alberni.
Wildlife recovery has always been a big part of what we do, but education to the public has also been, right in there as well.
But we are a wildlife rehabilitation center. So our goal and our mission in life is to rescue, rehabilitate, and release injured animals back into the wild should they be in a position to be released. So your special character here is Oliver. Ollie, little Ollie. Now Oliver's story was he was an owlet that was found trapped still in his nest underneath a big branch of a tree that had fallen to the ground. He looks well, but he has permanent damage to the wingtips, so permanent structural damage to his wings that do not allow him to do what he needs to do, and that's to obviously fly and hunt and obviously escape.
Every time we develop areas, we're pushing wildlife out of their natural habitat, and we see this. We see deer coming into yards and eating plants. Well, that was their habitat to start with, so we're pushing them further and further back, and yes, we're seeing more and more conflicting situations. This guy here, by the way, he was hit by a car on the highway, and he was undoubtedly there because of us at the start. He was looking for things like rats and mice, which live on our highways in great abundance thanks to the food scraps that we throw out of our car window. So there's another human factor involved in problems with wildlife. Well, my friend here is Bardo. He's a barred owl, and he's one of our education ambassadors. He came to us about 16 years ago, having been hit by a car, and unfortunately his wing injury is too severe for him to be released back into the wild, which of course is our preference. But our policy here is not to release an animal that can't survive on its own. So that was 16 years ago. So Bardo was, because he was young, he was glove trained, as you can see, he sits calmly on my hand. He became our first education bird.
So what are you and Bardo up to this afternoon?
So we're off to the Parksville Library. They're running a children's reading program in the summer, and today it's going to be all about owls. So Bardo is going to teach the kids about some of the natural history of owls, some of the things that they can do to help protect owls in their habitat.
And so this is a big part of the North Island Wildlife Recovery is outreach into the community and
It certainly is.
Education.
Yeah, every opportunity we get, every invitation we get, we'll take advantage of and present our birds and give a lesson to whoever will listen to us.
Yeah, without the volunteers, we wouldn't be able to do it. It's just that we probably have 50 to 60 at any given time. It's amazing the energy they have, the commitment. One who you talked to earlier, Ross, he's just an amazing man. I can't say enough about him.
And you have a gal here from Australia that's...
We do. This lady is so interested in wildlife. She actually, the reason why she's here is she's going to learn something about enrichment, enhancement of wildlife in captivity. She's also learning some rehab. But her goal is one day to work at a zoo in Australia, where she's from, and be a keeper. So enhancement and enrichment and keeping animals in captivity will really help her on her journey, you know.
Yeah, I'll probably start with the doves and maybe the golden eagle after that and meet you back here afterwards. So Elvis here started life out in the wild in a nest with his parents, and someone decided to climb up to the nest and pluck him out and hand rear him themselves. The only problem with that was they decided to tie him up to their apartment balcony and feed him dog food for a year, which isn't good for a bird and isn't good for people either. The SPCA was called, and eventually Elvis did come to live with us here. Because he was reared by humans, doesn't have any life skills, isn't a very good hunter, and thinks it's a person. So not going to do very well out in the wild, but does have fun here with us at the centre. Well with Trickster, but hey, sweet bird. So this is Trickster, one of our resident ravens. And he's one of my favourite birds, very smart and quite friendly, as long as you bring food. And he will show you how smart he is as a moment here. We try and hide food around for these guys to give them something to do, because they do get bored very easy, being the smart birds that they are. So back over this way here is the eagle flight cage. So it's one of the largest eagle flight cages up here in North America, and we use that to give eagles, both juveniles and adult bald eagles, exercise before we let them go back in the wild. We want to make sure that they can fly well and that they're really fit before we let them go, to make sure that they really will do well once they're released.
And a lady by the name of Margaret Spriggs on Salt Spring Island, she really liked eagles. And when she passed away, she left us a legacy that we were able to build the flight cage that we have, which that was a real blessing. So it meant that we could, exercise the birds much better and get them out and do a better job than what we were doing.